Welcome to the second installment of my octopus sculpture series. Last time it was all about juxtaposing a geometric shape with the organic octopus body. This time I want to form a unity between the octopus and its surrounding by literally weaving and threading the body through the rock that I chose as a pedestal. The journey begins with a wax octopus model as a base. In my last video I showed you how I sculpted the original pattern and made this mold. I can now conveniently reuse that mold to make more octopus base models from wax. After extracting the model, there is always quite a bit of cleanup to do before moving on. My chosen rock needed a good surface to stand on, so I ground the bottom flat. Rubbing the rock on a rusty steel plate shows me exactly where my points of contact are and where to remove more material. With the rock prepared, I could now begin shaping the wax model around it. After cutting a hole into the hollow wax body, I placed the head down first and subsequently moved on to the arms. Sometimes I had to make some relief cuts to achieve tighter bends. This whole process causes a lot of damage to the model, so there's a large amount of repair work necessary. Once that was done and the work blended in, I had to do the cruel job of slaughtering my poor little 8-armed friend up into a total of 10 pieces. Dental floss turned out to work best for this. To prepare the fragments for casting, I first made some wax funnels and joined them to the smaller pieces. Wooden skewers function as later air escape channels. Pushing some nails through the hollow octopus head is done to stabilize the plaster core that is formed during the process. A slightly more complex channel or gating system, as it's called, is needed for the head section. I joined multiple tentacles to a base plate to mold and cast them all together. My investment is made up of plaster, sand, crushed bricks, and water. The plaster mix is first brushed onto the surface to get into all the nooks and crannies, and finally the wax models are submerged and the investment left to harden. A few minutes later I can remove the blocks and move them over to my electric furnace to fire them for a whole day. I use coiled up root barriers used in landscaping because it's durable, easy to clean, and I can vary the diameter easily. In preparation for casting, I pack gravel around the plaster molds to provide external support against the pressure build-up during the pour. After cooling for a few hours, I took the molds inside to break them open. Always the most exciting moment during the entire process. Luckily, the castings turned out pretty good, so that's a big relief. I cut off the gating system and pulled out the nails, then chiseled away the biggest air bubbles on the surface. Using a Dremel, I grind away any imperfections and extra material left behind after casting. To reclaim my original surface where I had to grind it away, I make use of a round-nosed chisel. After doing a rough test fit of all the parts and cleaning the surface, I finally reached the point where I could tack everything back together. A few parts distorted a bit during casting, so some bending was necessary to get a snug fit on the stone. After tack welding everything in place, I welded all the joints shut, which was then followed by the familiar sequence of grinding, chasing, and brushing. For this sculpture, I had a colorful two-step patina in mind. Starting with a dark base patina, I placed the entire sculpture into an airtight container with a splash of ammonia. The ammonia fumes in the container react with the surface to create a bright blue patina. Now all that was left for me was to add my signature and the current year, and finally give the bronze a wax finish. And there you have it. Interwoven, my second octopus sculpture in this series, is finished, and I'm really stoked about how it turned out. I was a bit worried that the welded seams would show up, but they really vanished almost completely. The patchy color works quite well with this subject, and the weaving of the metal through the stone adds a layer of mystery about how the sculpture was even made. For anyone who hasn't seen the video about it, at least. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I post about the things I do on Instagram, so if you're interested, please take a look over there. I'm kind of renovating an old house and building up a workshop right now, so my art sadly has to take a bit of a step back these days. Nevertheless, I'll make more sculptures eventually, and I think with the next octopus I'm going to explore textures a bit more. See you next time, and thanks for watching.